am making this video in hopes that I can change at least one person's way of thinking. I mean, even just one person. So, a little over a year ago, I'd say September probably, things were really, really bad for me with my grandma dying in August, and I'd been depressed for months, and I was out of school for panic attacks, and I had really bad social anxiety, and just tons of things were just really wrong. And one day, I was just lying in bed, and all of a sudden, the thought just popped into my head that I wished I was dead. And I tried pushing it out. I tried, everything I could think to try and get other things in my mind and to ignore it and to make it go away and pretend like it didn't happen, but it kept coming back. And after a few days, I had a plan. And I don't want to talk about the plan now, but I had one. And finally, at the time, I was doing Homebound, which is where a teacher would come to my house twice a week and help me with my schoolwork, because I was in 11th grade. And I was laying in bed one day, because a lot of what I did was just lay in bed. I didn't do much else. I couldn't do much else. And I just started thinking, the past year I've been nothing but a burden on my parents. I've ruined a lot of things. They didn't want their daughter to have to be homeschooled. They didn't want to have to spend money for me to go to a psychiatrist every week and a therapist every week. And, all I was a burden. I lost every single one of my friends except for one, and with her, I was a burden. And, half of my family, not like my mom and dad and brother, but like my cousins, they didn't believe me. They thought I was faking just so I didn't have to go to school. And I just thought, how much better would things be for them if I wasn't here? And then I also thought, and my grandma's in heaven, and I could be with her, and everyone down here on earth would be happier without me, and I would be happier with her. And immediately I knew, I don't want to think like this. I don't want these thoughts in my head. I don't like this. And so finally I called my mom, just sobbing, saying, I don't want these thoughts in my head anymore. Please make them go away. So I went to my psychiatrist and told him, and I ended up going to a place called New Dimensions, and it's called a day hospital, where I'll go in the morning, and I would stay until 9 o'clock at night, and it would be group therapy with kids my age, and then we'd have a big group family where all of our parents or whatever would be with us, and then you would have a personal with the doctor, so we could keep track of all the medicines we were taking and all of that stuff. And I spent 2 months there just trying to get through the day, because all the time those thoughts would just come into my head, and I hated it. It terrified. I've never been more scared in my life, and it was being scared of myself. And I had a Tumblr at the time, and I didn't go on a lot because I knew that things like that happen on Tumblr. You say something controversial, and the wrong person sees it, and you have something in your ass saying for you to kill yourself. That happens on Tumblr all the time. I've seen it tons of times. And at that point in my life, I couldn't have taken that. Do you know how something like that would have affected someone that was in my situation? And you never know when someone's in that situation. Not everyone's going to be open about it. not everyone's getting help. Not everyone can tell their parents, can say, I have this problem and I need to get it fixed. Some people suffer in silence, and they see things like that, people saying no one would care if you died, everyone would be better off, go kill yourself, and they will. They'll do it. That's that one push they've been waiting for. Sometimes it's like you're sitting on a fence and you're just waiting for a push to get better or a push to make it all go away. And that could have been that push. And so what I'm saying is, you might not think it's serious. You may say, whatever, they weren't actually telling them, they don't actually want them to die, they're just saying that, they're just trying to say something mean. But not everybody sees it like that. And when you're somebody that feels like nobody loves you, and then someone just confirms that, that's like the worst thing you can do. I know. So, what I'm trying to say, pretty much, is you never know what your words can do to a person. You really can never know. So, try always not to say anything that could push someone over the edge. If you're going to say anything, try and pull them back to our side. Because you never know what can push someone. You never know. It can be the slightest comment. And I feel for that anonymous person. So just think before you say something. Think about what your words mean, because you might not mean them to be heavy, but they can weigh down on somebody. So pretty much just think before you speak, because it can make a big difference to somebody else, and you don't want to be the reason someone kills themselves.